Well, the road to NBL 24 starts right here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. For the next 7 days, the NBL Blitz hits the Gold Coast. Derek Rucker, you've been telling us for years we've got to get back up here.
Who would not want to come here and spend 6 or 7 days on the lovely Gold Coast? And better yet, you get to watch one of the hottest products in the world, sporting-wise, the NBL.
Let's start with what's coming up tonight in just a few moments' time. Southeast Melbourne take on Tasmania. Very interesting game first up.
It is. In Southeast Melbourne, we know they're a very tough team. They're led by Mitch Creek. They expect to be a championship contender this season, and I've got Tasmania in my top 4. I think they're one of the true powerhouses.
And then a little bit later on, the new-look Brisbane Bullets take on Melbourne United. Fascinating to see what the Bullets put up first up here.
Obviously, Brisbane are trying to change their culture. They've been going out in the preseason playing hard. Melbourne United, another team that I think is a genuine championship contender. I think you'll have different themes coming into this game, but it'll be exciting.
Big crowd expected today here on the Gold Coast. It is Australia's favourite playground, and NBL 24 starts now at the Blitz.
Welcome to my world. My goodness gracious, he's again. And he flies. You've got to be kidding me. This is incredible. Wow.
No
20
worries.
seconds, okay.
20
Stay
seconds.
up to date with all the latest, direct from the NBL?
That is enormous.
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
So great to have your company here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. The first game of the NBL 24 Blitz about to get underway between the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and the Tasmania JackJumpers. I'm Jack Heverin alongside NBL MVP and legend of this league, Derek Rucker. Gee, it's great to be back, Ruck. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jack. And it seems like only last week when we were down in Sydney celebrating at Kudos Bank Arena Game 5, but the time has come quickly, and this has to be one of the most anticipated NBL seasons in my 33 years being involved with the league. Really looking forward to it. We've got great 8 next stars, which is going to be sensational and bring so much enthusiasm and excitement and attention to the league. And this is a great way to kick it off here on the Gold Coast.
So let's talk about the two teams that we've got in action first. A reminder, later on this afternoon, we've got Brisbane and Melbourne in the second game. Already seen a lot of Brisbane Bullets jerseys and T-shirts around, so the home team are going to get a lot of support. Felix von Hoff and Pete Hooley will be in for that game. Let's start with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, Derek. They've had a number of changes in the off-season, and they will be different looking tonight. No Mitch Creek, no Matt Kenyon, no Gorjak Gak, and also no Alan Williams, who we learned earlier this week is going to be out for a period of time.
Look, they're a very, very deep team, and I think this is a great opportunity for some of those guys to show what they can do coming off the bench. A great acquisition like Ben Ayer. Ruben Tarangi, who is a veteran player and someone who needs to show that he's still reliable and has productivity in him. Tyler Cook, who has some NBA experience, he's going to be an interim replacement for Alan Hot Sauce Williams. So I'm really looking forward to see what they have as a team. I have them playing for a play-in position later on in the season, but they could raise up higher.
New coach as well, Mike Kelly, former NBL Coach of the Year, getting his second opportunity here in the league. Well, what sort of coach is Mike Kelly for those who haven't seen him before?
So I thought Mike showed a lot of promise in his first season with the Cairns Taipans, took them in a nice playoff run. And then the second year, he wasn't as successful. But look, that is no clear indication of what he's like as a coach. I'm sure this time around he'll have a better idea of what his identity is, what his coaching persona is. He's got Sam McKinnon over there supporting him, so I think they'll be different than the Simon Mitchell coach teams but they should be very good nonetheless.
Tasmania JackJumpers, 2 seasons in the league, 2 playoff appearances. They went to the grand final in their very first season and lost that one. Went to the playoffs in the second year as well. The big question for Scott Roth and the JackJumpers is, how do they stay in that top bracket?
They're staying in that top bracket. Do not make a mistake. Scott Roth is one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the competition. He knows what it takes. He's tough on his players. I think he has great respect in the program, and I think they've recruited very well in the offseason. I'm really excited to look at the diminutive point guard, Jordan Crawford.
Yeah.
Jack, I think you have a mismatch size on him down in the block. You can go to work on Jordan Crawford. He's 5'7". If he's 5'7", I'm 6'5". Get out of here, 5'7". Ain't a chance. But I tell you what, I've seen some highlights. That boy can flat out go. A lot of Jerome Randall about him.
That's a very good comparison, that one, actually, as well. So interesting to see here. We've got the crowd starting to fill up in and around the Gold Coast Exhibition and Convention Centre. Tickets have sold really, really well across the next week. Just talk to us about basketball in Queensland, Derek, before we get this first game underway. And there is a lot of talk about potentially a Gold Coast team coming into the NBL. Do you think the appetite's here?
It is, without a doubt. And at the junior level, the Gold Coast Basketball Association is the largest in Queensland, and they are very successful. The NBL 1 North men's program is one of the best in the country. They have players like Jason Kadee, Tanner Krebs. They've had that type of player participating in the program the past 2 or 3 seasons. And not only that, there's an enthusiasm and energy here for basketball that rivals Victoria. I think Queensland, especially Southeast Queensland, is the chief competitor to the stronghold that Victoria has had for years in basketball. And my business, Derek Rucker Basketball, I see it on a daily basis. The number of inquiries about players wanting to get better. So, there's a lot of promise here. To have an NBL team back in Australia's playground would just be fantastic.
Isn't it great to be in Australia's favourite playground as well? Over 160 experiences within 30 minutes. We went to Top Golf last night, and well, I hit them a lot better than a lot of other people in the heart of the Gold Coast. Whether you're looking for adventure, relaxation, or a delicious dining experience, you'll find it all here in Australia's favourite playground. You been to Top Golf before?
Jack, I've been everywhere in Southeast Queensland, but check this out. It took me 5 hours to get down here today. So you may not believe this, but along the way I stopped off, I got my car washed. I went to the beach. I went to Mount Tamborine and got a hike in. Then I went to Dream World, had a couple of rides, got off the rides, got back in my car, and now here I am. Where else can you do that in Australia, Jack Heffern?
You are an absolute phenomenon. You really are. You've been everywhere, man, quite literally. Who's your selection? We're not that far away from tip-off here. Who are you picking for the NBL 24 Championship? We may as well just get this one off the bat straight away.
I'm going for the Sydney Kings three-peat.
Wow.
And I'm not doubting their coaches, their new head coach's talent, but I'm doubting whether or not he can adjust to NBL basketball and the Australian culture. If he can do that, they are a shoo-in to win the title again. I think they have what it takes. I think they know how to win, and I just think the fiber is there. And then the other thing is, if Jonah Bolden is 75% of his max potential, again, it's a wrap. He will be a suitable replacement for Xavier Cooks, and it will just be a tremendous opportunity for him to show what he's got going on.
If you want to talk about just how big Derek Rucker is in Queensland, we're hearing commentary for KO Freebies, of course, first game of the NBL Blitz, and he's already had 2 people stop by and just ask him for an autograph. They haven't noticed that you've got a headset on and that you're actually talking to an international audience. They want your signatures, Dean.
Oh, well, Jack, some people luck into good circumstances in life. You know what I'm saying?
I think when we see Melbourne United later on tonight, very interested to see what that Melbourne United team looks like straight up, because they, from a depth point of view, they look really deep.
They are, and they're probably 6 or 7 legitimate playoff teams this season. And Melbourne United, I've got Sydney, Melbourne United, and Perth as my top 3 teams. I think they are in that tier 1. Now in the next tier, I've got Tasmania, Southeast Melbourne, New Zealand. Although, Jack, you know what? I may be a liar because tomorrow I might change my mind. I was looking at New Zealand.
I know you'll change your mind.
I looked at New Zealand's roster last night. I was all studying.
Yep.
Their roster's stacked, and having Finn Delaney back is massive. When you can get that type of local talent back into your lineup, Man, this is really tough, Jack, but I still think Sydney, Perth, and Melbourne United are the 3 elite teams.
So let's, from a Tasmania point of view, we're about a minute away from tip-off here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. What are you most looking for tonight with Tasmania? What's the one thing that you want to see from them first up?
I want to see if Scott Roth has been able to instill that same chemistry and identity into them. We know they play very tough on the defensive end, and they're surprisingly, I'm not going to say surprisingly, but they're very smart with the basketball while also showing a bit of offensive ingenuity and creativity.
It improved that, didn't it?
They did, and I think Scott's probably learning how to utilize his offensive brain a little bit better as it applies to not only the league but to his players in particular. So this is going to be an exciting game.
And for Southeast Melbourne?
Southeast Melbourne, I just really like to see what Mike Kelly is bringing. Again, like, coaches mean so much in basketball. You know, and codes, you know, some of the bigger codes here, AFL and NRL, when you have more players and more players determine the outcome of a game, it's harder to influence each player. But in basketball, you can really have an impact on your players and out there on the floor. You know, an AFL coach isn't down alongside the field. So, you know, I want to see how these guys adapt, and I want to see what their approach is to the preseason.
Before we get things underway for the NBL Blitz, on behalf of the NBL, the commentary team, and, of course, the wider basketball community, we're sending our thoughts and our love to Corey Homicide Williams at the moment. Corey, we hope you're watching from the other side of the world. We know that you'll be watching over the next week here at the NBL Blitz as well. But we love you. You're our brother. You're in the fight of your life right now, and we're all thinking of you. So on behalf of the entire basketball community, we wanted to send our well wishes to Corey.
That's well said, Jack. And from a personal point, you know, an event like this, we really miss Corey, and I miss Corey. I miss his smile. I miss being able to talk to him. So, Corey, I'm sure you're listening, buddy. Take care, and I can't wait to see you again.
So the first game of the NBL Blitz about to get underway. There's Marcus Lee, an off-season recruit for Tasmania, a savvy one. Came in halfway through last year for Melbourne United and played with good impact. He's the sort of player, Derek, that is defensively minded as a big man. You feel like he'll suit this Tasmania system really well.
Jack, he makes 2 out of every 3 shots he takes. He's 67% from the field. That is invaluable from a big man, and he's smart. He protects the rim, and he was a really good person from the chats that I had with him. He understands the game, and I think he's going to be a great addition to this Tasmania lineup. And with Crawford out there, wreaking havoc in the perimeter, getting paint touches off the bounce, he should be able to set up Lee for a lot of, you know what, catch and dunks.
Number 25 for Southeast Melbourne. That's a familiar face to the NBL. Reese Vague, the Vanilla Gorilla, is back in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Been playing in Japan for the last few seasons. Great crowd first up. It's starting to build as well for the Brisbane Bullets later on this afternoon against Melbourne United. Barely a spare ticket available for this first day. And here we go. NBL 24 starts with the JackJumpers in possession. Milton Doyle, what a season he had last year. All NBL first team, Derek. Can score, can defend. You want the ball in his hand late in the game.
Top 5 player in the competition, make no mistake about that.
Gary Brown returns for Southeast Melbourne in a 2-point guard setup for the Phoenix. Be very interesting to see how that looks in these first games. Moller backs down and scores. Opening bucket of the night. Craig Moller returns to the NBL.
A very underrated utility player when he was last with the Sydney Kings. Again, gives you everything he has. Awkward to play against. Just a great pickup from Southeast Melbourne.
NBL 21 was the last time that we saw Craig Moller play here. It's been in Germany. There's Tyler Cook, Southeast Melbourne's new injury replacement. He thought he was fouled. Now McVeigh in transition, feet set, we know what happens.
I said in the offseason, Jack, one of the great moments in the NBL is when McVeigh lines up the threes down in Tasmania. The crowd really loves when he gets it going. And he's one of the hard workers in the competition. One of the guys that's maximizing his natural ability just through will, hard work, and the right mindset.
Average 14, nearly 15 points a game, 47, 41, 77 was his shooting clip. They're good numbers.
Yeah, it'll get you paid.
Not quite your money, but you'll get paid all the same.
And that was a huge psychological play right there for Tyler Cook, because the first time he went to the bucket, he thought he got fouled. So to pick up that foul right there, that can kind of regulate him and be like, okay, they're not out here killing me. I thought he should have got 2 shots on it, but okay.
I want to go back to a point of yours from the pregame about adjusting to the Australian style. For those who are watching, this knockdown from Will Cummings. For those watching internationally, Derek, what do you mean by that when you say that you need to adjust to the Australian style of play?
It's a very physical league, and it's a, whoa.
How's that for a start for the JackJumpers?
Did I say that all he needs to do this season is catch and dunk, or did I say that?
You did say that.
Thank you, Jack.
You did say that.
But look, the Australian League is physical, it's fast, and look at that. We got 2 attacks at the rim just in less than 10 seconds. But also, there's a level of camaraderie and mateship that also requires adjustment. As these guys they're obviously liking the feeling of this convention center here on the Gold Coast, because they're putting that ball in the bucket.
These rims are friendly. JackJumpers with a 2-point lead.
Uh-oh.
Gary Brown throws that one out of play. You can see Will Cummings on your screen there, 31 years of age, out of Florida. Played last season in China, but has been an absolute star of European basketball for nearly a decade.
He and Jordan Crawford from Tasmania have great resumes, Jack. And I was really surprised with it. It shows what this league is attracting in terms of guys wanting to come over here and be a part of it. And not only play against established stars, but play against stars that are on the rise.
Opening stages here at the NBL Blitz, Brisbane and Melbourne. To come later on, you'll see that game and every game across the Blitz on KO Freebies. Gary Brown has been dealing with a little ankle issue in the last few weeks, but is moving pretty well so far. As Cummings into the lane. That was nice.
Well, some people were critical of me. I was having some friendly chats during the week about this upcoming season, and people were critical of me, saying that I think Phoenix are going to be a good team. But Jack, remember, before the guys got hurt last year, they were sitting in 3rd place. They were having an outstanding season. Mitch Creek was an MVP candidate, and I can guarantee you Mitch isn't worse than he was last year. So they're going to have an MVP guy, a top-notch Australian. Some might say he's the best Australian player in the NBL, in this league.
What do you think?
He made a case for it last year. You know, he got edged out by Xavier Cooks for that MVP. But, you know, if Mitch's teammates didn't get hurt down the stretch, maybe they win more games and Creaky has more productivity, and it changes the outcome of that MVP race.
Not playing this afternoon, Mitch Creek, just a minor calf issue. Here's Jordan Crawford. Derek's already disputing his height. Been here for 4 minutes, and you're saying that the tape measure's telling lies.
Possibly, but you know what I'm not disputing? His game.
Correct. There's the Brown-Cummings combination.
Come on, man.
It started well for the Phoenix.
He's got to show me something right there. I got to see him stick that.
Has he got it in him?
I think so.
Jack McVeigh trying to back in on Cook. It's a big finish.
So awkward. I always tell my players at Derek Rucker Basketball and working with young players, I'm like, there's nothing wrong. If you can't be athletic, be awkward. And Jack McVeigh is one of the great. He's got all types of wrong foot, out-of-time shots, and that was just an old-school mini hook. I neglected to mention the pickup of Anthony Drimmick. I think he suits that, how they like to play perfectly. He'll be allowed to be a bit crazy. We know Drim's natural skew is towards crazy, and we love that.
Yeah, we do.
He likes to shoot the ball, plays with a lot of emotion, and I think those types of guys are what Scott Roth really looks for.
And probably something that they didn't have. A guy like Anthony Drimmick, who's a catch-and-shoot guy, can knock down multiple threes really quickly, is probably something the JackJumpers haven't had in previous seasons. Sean McDonald is fouled. That's a really interesting sort of back mullet that he's embracing there.
Look,
Sean
Jack.
McDonald, you can see it there. Now, I know that hair's not our area of expertise, Derek, but that's an interesting do.
Yes, yeah, very true. That's, yeah, he's going out there. He had a very good NBL 1 North season, played up in Darwin. I got to watch him play a couple of times live. Bigger body than you think, a little bit more athletic, shoots the ball well, and I think this year, coming off the bench, there'll be expectations on him to hold down some valuable minutes of court time. They'll want him to be a bit of a hybrid. Sometimes he'll have to run the point, and it's a great opportunity for a player like Sean McDonald.
For those watching from overseas, that's what we call a mullet in Australia. Reece Vague steps outside, short on that 3 ball. Tasmania lead by 1. Best part of 5 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. See all of the NBL Blitz on KO freebies. McVeigh couldn't get his shot away. Shot clock down to 4. Fabian Kristlovic steps out.
And see, Jack, even though they didn't get a bucket there, they made Phoenix work on defense. Like, that was a good possession, and I love how they move the ball. Someone told me a long time ago, as Will Cummings says, ba-boom. As someone told me a long time ago, if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score.
It's a good point. The JackJumpers had to work long and hard to re-sign Milton Doyle in the off-season. He made them wait. That time, that rims out. And Crawford steps into the 3 with confidence. How important was his signature, Derek? What would this Tasmania team look like if Milton Doyle didn't come back?
Here's the thing. You know exactly what he's going to bring night in, night out. He's got 2 years in the league now. We see what high level he can attain on a nightly basis. He's been your main guy now for a grand final appearance and a semifinal appearance. He seems like a really good teammate. He's got good leadership attributes, and his basketball talent, his productivity, his efficient is very high. So I can't see, you know, how do you find someone to replace him? And people say, oh, he's an import. You can just go find another one. Jack, we've seen a lot of imports come over here and not get it done.
Yep.
And that's never a knock on their talent. Again, sometimes the mix just isn't right. And it's tough. It's tough being an import in international basketball, and Milton Doyle is one of the best.
The Phoenix have gone to their bench already. Cody Statman coming in for his first minutes. And Zach Rosetto also playing his first minutes tonight. They are a young team. Walter Brown also on the floor for Tasmania. And Ben Eyre we're also seeing out there for Southeast Melbourne for the first time. Derek, someone that you know very, very well, Ben Eyre.
Yeah, very volatile relationship, Ben and I. Love, hate. Today we're all love.
I saw that.
Yeah, we're getting along today, and good defense right there. Oh, my God, and a better shot. That shows you some pedigree right there. Outstanding defense by Ben Eyre, but sometimes, you know, a shot maker is better than a shot stopper. Ooh, yo, Will Cummings is nice. Yo, he's slippery.
He's looking pretty comfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah, you doubt his athleticism. I'm telling you right.
I beg your pardon. You go putting words in my mouth. Aaron Crawford continue that matchup. Nice screen from Kristlovic.
Yo.
And Sean McDonald from the corner.
Set up by Crawford with a great change of direction move in air. You can't fault him. He's given everything he has. We've all been there before.
There's Cody Statman. Spent a couple of years with the Brisbane Bullets on their roster. Now getting a second chance here in the Hungry Jacks NBL with Southeast Melbourne. Still only 23 years of age. Cummings is the story of the first quarter.
Now, when you start cooking like this, it's only preseason, Jack. So, you know, you don't need to show too much. Mike Kelly's probably going to be like, okay, When do we chill this guy down for a little bit? And this isn't, you got to keep in mind these guys are playing 3 games.
Kristovic cleans up the mess. Yeah, so how do teams and coaches try and approach the blitz? What are you trying to get out of
it? Varies, Jack, you know. Like a team like the Brisbane Bullets, they got to come out here and play every game like it's a playoff game. They are trying to not only change their own fortunes, as Majuk Dang has a little contest at the rim, they're not only trying to change their own fortunes and their approach, but they're trying, it's a PR campaign also. They need to show the Southeast Queensland community that they are here to give effort and that winning is on their mind, and so their mindset is different than, say, a Melbourne United, who they'll play later tonight. Melbourne, Dean is an experienced coach. He has a pretty idea what he's getting through, and it won't be so much about winning or losing for Dean Vickerman, I wouldn't imagine. But for Brisbane, it'll be about winning. They want to get out there and get some W's on the board.
You want winning to become a habit, right?
Exactly.
Anzac Rossetto. He's a big, big young man, 21 years of age, out of Auckland in New Zealand. He's re-signed with the Phoenix on a new 2-year deal.
Nice big physique. And it's only going to get better as he gets settled into a professional program. You see a lot of guys like that got a lot of beef on them. When they get into a strength conditioning program, you see the positive attributes really come, and he's got a good canvas to work with, Jack. Ooh.
Junior Madut, formerly of Southeast Melbourne, takes it to the rack and scores. He'll be out there with the points approved tonight as Tarangi gets to the other end and one.
Always reliable, Tarangi. Probably would have liked to see a bit more consistency and a higher level of performance, but it's tough because essentially he's playing in Mitch Creek's shadow.
Sure.
But, you know, if he can come in and give spot minutes, another good athlete, shoots the ball better than you think, pretty good defender, he can be a valuable contributor off the bench for a deep playoff run team.
He's just coming off an appearance at the FIBA World Cup with the Tall Blacks as well. He was captain of New Zealand.
I thought Shea Illy was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of positives for the Tall Blacks out of that campaign, I think.
You know, I thought they performed well against the United States. Perro Cameron's first bite at it. I thought Perro did a good job, and again, they'll learn so much from that.
Junior Madut has made a nice start to this game.
Jack, all these buckets going down, I'm starting to feel like I might, you know.
You're getting a little itchy over there, right?
Yeah. Imagine if this was Drewy. Imagine if Drewy was here. He'd be having some type of conniption out here.
He'd have already had about 15 field goal attempts if this was Andrew Gaze playing in the Blitz.
Ooh. And Tarangi shows you that type of ability, you know. But then he might disappear for a month during the season, and that's the thing. It's like maintain a nice little level for us.
Last minute of the opening term. It's been high scoring. 26 plays 23. Krislovic uses his height advantage.
Nice move, and I think he's been named one of the vice captains for Tasmania. He's in that leadership group. And Scott Roth, another guy that he has a lot of faith in. Krasilovic can do a lot of good things outside the three-point line as well.
Shot clock down to 10. Drimic at the top of the key. This misses off to the right.
One shot here, Jack. Flatten him out. Go 1-4 flat. See, there's too much. Sometimes when you bring people up, it can confuse the situation. If I'm the ball handler, sometimes I just like a flat court.
Clock down to 3 for Air.
That's
nice
a good
take.
play right there on the left hand.
Ben Air with 2.4 on the clock.
You know what? He might be in the top 5 in the league in terms of self-confidence. Sometimes a little bit undeserved, somewhat a bit irrational, but you can't blame how he goes about his business and where he's come from to make a spot for himself in this league.
I want that list out of you. By the end of this game, I want your top 5 most confident players in the league. I'll give you a bit of time at halftime to do some work on it.
I can add a number 2 right now. Bryce Cotton.
Yeah, well, that's justified, that one.
Bang!
How's that for a finish to the quarter?
And what a quarter, Jack.
Let's hope it stays like this for the entire NBL 24 season. 29 plays 28 at quarter time. That was a fun first term.
Unbelievable. Good action up and down. Guys are playing pretty hard. Ball's moving. I just like basketball with good intensity, low turnovers, and shot making. Jack, this is not like a regular season game. We got people dapping us up, all types of stuff going on behind the scenes. Viewers, just in case you're wondering if things get a
little bit sidetracked at times. Yeah, you're sitting here eating nuggets and chips, which doesn't normally happen at an NBL game, but, you know, why not? We're sitting here in shorts and T-shirts. And
oh, no basket. They've taken it away. Did we need to go? Come on. Well, I guess they've got to get sharp too, right, Jack? The refs,
so.
Yeah, they got to get sharp too, and that's the right call. If he didn't release it in time, he didn't release it in time.
So 29-25 is the official score. That last 3 has been waved away. Speaking of relaxed vibes, we're just having a look at the Southeast Melbourne bench at the moment. And the Tasmania bench, that man standing there in the shorts and the T-shirt, that's Scott Roth, the coach of the JackJumpers, everyone's favourite grandfather, coaching in shorts today.
Yeah, well, that's the look, and everyone seems to be going with it. I don't think I could do that. I'd probably be more inclined to go with the tracksuit. That's kind of my style.
I don't know if I've ever seen you wear shorts too often. It's got to be really hot, right?
Yeah, it's got to be warm, or, you know, if I'm out there getting some jumpers up. But look at this lineup. If you look at that shot there on camera, 4 of those guys for Tasmania are coming off the bench, and I like those guys. Like Krislovich, oh, he's a starter, and Doyle's a starter. But there's no guarantee that Krislovich will remain a starter in the regular season. But then you've got Majuk Dang, you've got Anthony Dremick and Sean McDonald holding down. Like, that's really good. And I think that's one of the things that's been so good about the Sydney Kings. They've been able to maintain a solid bench group. And remember, after they won the championship, they went and signed that bench fast.
Yeah, it was interesting the way they did that, wasn't it? They signed their bench first.
They were like, nobody is going to pinch our fiber.
Yep.
No one's going to take away our support system. And I thought that was really, really smart. And it's going to be one of the keys to their success, I guarantee you.
It's great to be here for the next week in Australia's favourite playground. It's the only destination where you can watch world-class basketball. You can hike through an ancient rainforest, sip cocktails by a luxurious pool, that's your sort of bag, that stuff, Derek. Or you can squeal on a roller coaster, all of those things and more. And you can do it all in the same day here on the Gold Coast. And a massive thanks to the Gold Coast Tourism and Events for having us this week. And who knows, it could be the start of bigger things to come for the Gold Coast and the NBL.
Well, it's the start of big things to come for Will Cummings, obviously, because he's playing on this playground. He's got 15 points. He's headed for 50 tonight.
He's looked outstanding in the first quarter.
And, like, you forget, Gary Brown was an impact player last year before he got hurt. He is a really good basketball player.
Majuk Deng almost found his way through the trap. Good hands from Foxwell. And eventually the foul called on Majuk Deng. So picked up a couple of early ones. A late signing for Tasmania. Had spent the majority of his career playing with the Taipans. Was in a situation where Cairns were going in a different direction. They're going to be very young this season, and Majuk Deng just didn't quite fit the profile, but gets another opportunity with the JackJumpers.
Yeah, it was clear probably about halfway through the season that Adam Ford just didn't really see using Majuk Deng as a high priority in terms of where they were going as a club, and fair enough, they went their separate ways, and I think Deng is in a good position where he is right now. He had a very good NBL 1 North campaign with the Logan Thunder. Was in the running for MVP for a while there, and just played really good basketball, and I'm eager to see him play this year for Tasmania. Look at this ball movement.
Nice pass inside. McDonald for Krislovic.
Love that, Jack.
Just had a quick scan of Twitter during the quarter time break. You can use the hashtag NBL Blitz right across the next week. And JJ's fans are watching, and I think they're liking what they're seeing in this first quarter.
Well, firstly, you obviously haven't updated your phone in a while because it's no longer Twitter, Jack. It's X.
Oh, I'm still calling it Twitter. Old habits die hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Someone said to me the other day, I saw something on X, and I was like, you what? That can be taken in a range of different ways, that one.
Look, if I'm supporters of either one of these two teams, I just love what I'm seeing because there's so much diversity in their skill sets and the physical profiles. They've got so many different ways that I believe that they can be successful, both of these teams. Little play on the sideline between Mike Kelly and Jack McVeigh. Not sure what's going on there.
Mike's the ultimate competitor. There's something really sweet and beautiful about Mike Kelly coaching a Southeast Melbourne team. Drimmick knocks down the three.
There was nothing sweet and beautiful about playing against Mike Kelly. I'll tell you that right now. That dude was rough. Hands are like just huge stones and just a physical dude.
And elbows made of steel as well. Part of the Magic's 1996 championship team, won the grand final MVP in that series. Now coaching in the heartland. There's no doubt that both of these two teams have hit the ground running. It's end-to-end stuff, and Anthony Drimmick finds himself on the line.
Tasmania do a really good job with their passing, and I would think that that's probably one of the trademarks of Scott Roth teams as we go forward. And there's all types of passes. That was a little slip bounce pass to a cutter. We've seen excellent passes out to three-point shooters, and people take passing to three-point shooters or open shooters for granted. Shooters want that ball in rhythm with a certain weight on the ball, delivered to a certain location, and a good team understands where each guy wants the ball delivered, and I've seen strong signs that Tasmania have developed that awareness with each other.
No Will Magnay for Tasmania at the moment. As we're taking a look at some of the highlights from the first quarter. Will Magnay still very much a question mark about what it looks like for him. There's no time frame given on his return from a foot injury. Has also been dealing with some knee issues for the last couple of years as well. It is a shame that we're starting another season, Derek, with Will Magnay, who's played in the NBA, and he won't be out there to start the season.
And there's so many layers to this, right? Because firstly, it's great credit to Tasmania because he was going to be one of their marquee players going forward. So it's a tremendous effort by that team to overcome his absence and continue to perform. And not only his absence, but sometimes he would be into the lineup, then out of the lineup, and that can be disruptive also to a team's performance. But it's sad for Will because ever since he's kind of hit the NBA, he hasn't been able to reach the heights that we expected, and he was one of the premier Australian athletes in the competition. I thought he was destined, and still may, but he was destined to become one of the all-time great shot blockers. He was developing his three-point shot, and I honestly thought when he went over to the NBA, we were never going to see him back in this league until it was a Dave Anderson situation, and he decided that he wanted to come back, but it was going to be of his own volition. And it's not too late for any of that stuff to happen. He can get back to the league. He's just got to get healthy.
He needs some luck, doesn't he? That's the hard thing. The other thing that was part of that too is that from an Australian point of view, D, you look at the Boomers team, and you can imagine a world where Jock Landale and Will Magnay would have been the two big men in the middle. That looks pretty good. He would have
given us some depth at this last World Cup. When it was obvious that we just lacked that one rim protector or that one extra body with some athleticism, that could have been Will Magnay, and maybe it will be down the line. But, yeah, there's certainly a bit of a lost hope there.
Turnover from the Phoenix, who trail by 2. Milton Doyle, a little dump off inside, and Tyler Cook says, get that out of here.
Yeah, you got to come a little bit stronger than that. That's one dribble, gather, stick.
A late signing for Southeast Melbourne. It's going to take him a little bit of time to adjust, but I think we've seen already that he can protect the rim. Just give a Marcus Lee something to think about now.
Oh, the rest of the league, too.
Yeah.
That, again, you see that pass, Jack? You see where he delivered that ball? That's intelligence. That's basketball intelligence. Working together with your teammate, asking him, where do you want the ball when I kick it out to you? That ball was put right in the bread basket.
Will Cummings is the leading scorer. Tyler Cook nearly single-handedly destroyed Marcus Lee.
Whoa, and Marcus Lee is giving him, we got a great seat. Jack, thanks for organizing these seats, by the way.
Oh, no, you're welcome, yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Like that was me.
But when I'm looking at the size, Marcus Lee has a good 2 to 3 inches in height on Tyler Cook, and Tyler Cook had no problems getting up and getting above Marcus Lee. Explosive athlete. I like his shoes, too. He's got some nice kicks on.
Yeah, they're nice, aren't they?
Matching. Look at those.
Comes to the league with NBA experience. Last played for the Chicago Bulls in 2022.
Uh-oh, though. Uh-oh. I see something. Let's have a look at this. Not to interrupt your breakdown, but this shot might need a little bit of shot doctor. See that position of the hand? No. Yeah. We need some help.
What are you seeing?
So this hand, watch how his wrist turns out, Jack, and the ball, his hand goes on the outside of the ball. He already puts himself in a bad position geometrically. You see that hand turning out? And then he tries to make the adjustment late. That's low probability success.
A little free lesson for the youngsters at home, courtesy of Derek Rucker, one of the greatest shooters this league's ever seen. Jordan Crawford, big shoes to fill for him, replacing Josh Majette. He's sent packing by Cook, and Cummings explodes to the other end, can't score with the left hand. And he's the game's leading scorer with 15 points, Will Cummings. Anthony Drimmick and Jack McVeigh have 8 apiece for the JackJumpers.
Cook's really intelligent defensively, Jack. He does a good job of being able to read what the ball handler is trying to initiate in the paint. He's got his hand. Oh, that's a dime.
Gary Brown takes the bump.
I like what I'm seeing from Tyler Cook.
Different player to Alan Williams. Different style. Alan Williams a bit more offensively minded. Won't be playing for a pretty significant period of time with a knee issue.
But one thing where the Phoenix have been really strong is in their recruitment of players. Tommy Greer's done a very good job in evaluating talent, understanding how it's going to fit into our league. The great Cal Bruton has just shaken my hand. The guy is an absolute legend.
Look at $1 million, Cal.
Yeah, I'm great, Cal.
Only at the Blitz can we pretty much just talk to people while we're commentating.
But Tommy Greer has done a sensational job of assembling talent, especially in his imports. I don't think he's missed since the Phoenix have come back in the league. I can't really say, boy, he bombed with one of his selections. He's been very good with that. And they've done admirably well, Jack. I don't think they've had a bad year, but it's time to break through.
That's the challenge for them now, isn't it? They've been in the league for long enough that they've been around the playoffs, and then Marcus Lee closes the lid and took a look at Tyler Cook as well. Said, I see you. For game 1 of the NBL Blitz, both teams are playing with a high level of defensive intensity, which we like seeing. Cook lost the handle. So just back to the Phoenix, Derek. That's the thing, isn't it? There was almost a world a couple of years ago where they nearly beat Melbourne in Game 3 of the COVID year of the NBL semi-final series. They go to the grand finals, and who knows what can happen. But their time is now in many ways, isn't it?
Well, here's the deal. Your best player, like I said, is Mitch Creek. And the reality is we all have a timetable on us, and how long is Mitch going to be able to perform at that MVP level? I would say the timetable is realistically probably another 3 seasons.
Yep.
And, you know, that's a realistic expectation. These next 3 years, you would hope Southeast Melbourne can reach a grand final. I know what you want. You want a Southeast Melbourne grand final.
No,
I got to always limit this Victorian bias.
No.
Always have.
I just want, we all just want whatever's the best games in the competition.
Wasn't last year great?
That was fantastic. I'll never forget that championship series and being there as long as I live. I've been lucky across a few different sports to have a few highlights. That championship series was as good as anything I've ever been to. Doyle connects with Drimmick. He can't finish off. Wanted a foul. And from a physicality point of view, things have got quite heated all of a sudden.
Well, anytime Anthony Drimmick's in the game, you know, some things are going to happen. There's going to be some drama. There's going to be a little stick. You know what I mean? He just can't help himself.
Spent last season with Melbourne. Had a brilliant NBL 1 Central season, Anthony Drimmick. Averaged 23 points a game. Shot 53% from the field for West Adelaide. That's a high clip.
Nice little crowd in here, Jack. I didn't know what to expect. It's, it's a good little crowd. And I imagine it'll probably get near to full for the Bullets.
It's one thing I know for certain, and there's more tickets being sold every minute, but already it eclipses any previous Blitz in terms of the most tickets sold already, which is phenomenal. And you think about it, we're here on the first game of a week's worth of competition. It's the school holidays, so there's a lot of families that have made the trip up. But isn't that fantastic already that tickets have surpassed anything previous from a Blitz point of view?
And also, Jack, the NBA engagement. I'm sure you've got the facts with that one, but apparently they're at an all-time high, too, to record accreditations. 40 accredited NBA scouts will be here at the Blitz, watching all of the next stars and watching other talent here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. We're going to have a chat to one of them in the third quarter. You think about a time, as Cook loses the handle, there was a time not that long ago, Derek, where if I'd have said to you, someone who's been in this league for nearly over 30 years, if I'd have said to you that at the NBL Blitz there would be 40 NBA scouts attending, you would have laughed at me. If you would have told me that in 2010, I would have said, hey, yo, there's an ambulance waiting for you outside. We're about to go for a little walk, Jack. So full credit to, firstly, obviously, Larry Kesselman for everything he has done to put this league together. But then there's the support staff and the people on the daily who make it happen, and who had the vision and the insight to be like, yo, this is what we can do to get this thing popping on a universal level. Jordan Crawford, he's still trying to figure out where he fits in as a point guard in this team. But once he figures that out, he's got some individual stuff that's going to be really, really nice.
And that's a couple of times he's late in the clock. They've gone to him, and he's been able to find a bucket. Which, again, is a different look to what the Tasmania JackJumpers had from Josh Majette, their point guard from the previous 2 seasons. He was more of a distributor and an organizer, but Jordan Crawford looks like he's sort of got that different element to his game.
And the Josh Majette was a very polarizing situation for a guy who isn't polarizing at all. A very likable, charismatic guy who did a good job, but at times probably didn't play to the level that they needed, but yet they won a lot of basketball games with him. So it was tough, you know what I mean, Jack? It was really tough to evaluate. He didn't shoot it well, but he shot it well when they needed him to. Oh.
Crawford did everything but finish. I guess the other thing, too, with Josh Majette, Derek, is that he, as the point guard in a brand new team, he was part of them establishing the culture. And in some ways, he's not going to be there to see the benefits of that. But he was a massive
How
part.
much equity did he deserve? But it's a brutal business.
It is.
And I really liked him because, like I said, he won games. And did I find him not as efficient or productive at times? Yes, I did. But then all of a sudden, he hit a couple of shots, and then they're back in the game or they've taken the lead. And, you know, you just can't knock his contribution. I think he'll always be remembered in Tasmania as being vital in this resurgence of their franchise.
Yeah, for sure. Rosetto on the line. A 42-39 here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. The JackJumpers leading Southeast Melbourne in the first game of the NBL Blitz. Sean McDonald steps out. That's good.
Another great pass right on the money, and that's what Sean McDonald can do.
Oh, and Foxwell at the other end, off target. Shot clock at 8 for Reese Vague.
Why not? Maybe not the best choice of shots, but okay. All right, we'll go with it for now.
Spoken like a pure shooter. Why not, he says. What are you seeing with Tasmania offensively from this first half?
Very sharp. I mean, we are 2 weeks out from the beginning of the regular season, but I didn't anticipate they would be this sharp with their execution. Whoa. And they just look like they really enjoy playing with each other. Now they're playing against an undermanned team, but still what they're doing to them is exactly what they should be. They're down here courtside, Jack. We can hear the conversation. They're chatting with each other. They're positive. Listen to the chatter, Jack.
They look slick. Wow. Ruben Tarangi from outside. Much needed bucket for the Phoenix. Breaks a run of 8 unanswered points for Tasmania and brings it back to 7 with 1:26 before halftime.
And it's a tough one because Tasmania's offense is clicking so nicely, but I'm sure Scott Roth, he's probably got a little bit of an upset stomach at the fact that they've given up 42. That would probably be eating them up just a little bit. And, you know, it's been at a pretty good rate. The Phoenix are shooting 58% from the field. That's too much efficiency, and I'm sure Roth will want to address that at halftime. How long we got for halftime? These preseason games, all you wanted to do was go inside, have something to drink, hear about 45 seconds of your coach, and get back out on the court. I ain't trying to hear all that stuff that we're going to hear the rest of the year. Like, let's get in there, have a chat, dap each other up, let's go back out.
The breaks are a little bit shorter.
Good.
Why, are you asking because you've got somewhere to be at halftime, or why do you want to know? I feel like that was a loaded question from you.
It was skewed.
It felt a bit like, have I got a chance to go and get something to eat? No, because you've got your chicken nuggets and chips here. Have I got time to go and catch up with someone?
That might be it. That could be it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the more. Or, have I got time to go and sign a few autographs?
No, that's not it.
I've seen you with a few people, so I'll get you at halftime. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'll get you there. Season's not far away now, is it?
Man.
September 28, opening night, Melbourne and Southeast Melbourne on Thursday at what is going to be a sold-out John Cain Arena. Does it feel like it's come around fast?
Oh, you know it. I like it. And there's been so much preparation going on. It seems like we've been in constant contact about this season since, you know, the championship series ended last year. And my first game, I believe, Jack, will be Brisbane and Adelaide Friday night.
Nice.
Nissan Arena, baby.
Was going to see the new look Brisbane Bullets next. They'll play Melbourne United. Pete Hooley and Felix von Hoff in for that game, so can't guarantee what's going to happen there. Jordan Crawford from the corner.
They can shoot the ball, Jack.
Showing his offensive skills, and they're shooting the three ball at 58% in this first half, the JackJumpers. Oh, Ben Air with his feet set. That's what he's there to do for Southeast Melbourne.
And Jordan Crawford having a nice first half. 7 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Looks like he's got good command of what's going on. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he can move with that ball.
Ben Air lays it up. Yeah, I think he's going to be a fan favorite pretty quickly, Jordan Crawford.
But despite the numbers that I just mentioned, watch how his teammates look to him. His teammates look to him with respect, and that's vital with your main ball handler.
Last play of the opening half.
Oh, yeah.
Kristelvik found the cutter. And that puts the cherry on top of what's been a fantastic first half of basketball from the Tasmania JackJumpers. They lead 52-47 and have hit the ground running here at the NBL Blitz.
Unbelievable first half. I don't think we could have asked for a better start to NBL 24. Great offense, good energy from both teams, and a great fight back from Southeast Melbourne at the end to cut this lead to 7 and give themselves a chance in the second half to win this ball game.
And from a fan's point of view, 54 plays 47. This is the sort of basketball that we like.
Getting up and down, putting that ball in the bucket. Obviously, we can't expect the teams to shoot at this clip. The JackJumpers are 62% from the 3. The Phoenix are 57%. Now, if they continue at this rate, you know, this is going to be something special. But what a first half, Jack. What a first half.
Will Cummings, the leading scorer for Southeast Melbourne, has 15. The JackJumpers have spread their points around a little, but that is their way, isn't it, Tasmania? They like to share the load.
It is, and I think they can do that a lot more effectively this year with a couple of better scorers offensively and better shooters, and someone like a Sean McDonald coming of age and getting an opportunity. You know, in the offseason, Isaac White went elsewhere. Sam McDaniel went elsewhere. So that's opening up opportunities for a Sean McDonald, and they brought in Anthony Drimmick. And with Jordan Crawford and Milton Doyle out there on the floor, and the pressure that Marcus Lee is going to create at the basket, there are going to be a lot of good opportunities to shoot that ball from the perimeter.
Some of our highlights from the first half, we've been talking a lot about what teams want to get out of the Blitz, and certainly this first game, but what's been really noticeable, Derek, is that both teams have come out and played in an offensively minded style. It doesn't feel like they're holding too much back right now.
And that's true, and I think, you know, they're really free-flowing, and I think coaches, especially in the modern era, they want you to feel really comfortable with the basketball, play with a lot of belief, and because of the importance of the three-point line and how it can change the outcome of games if you are efficient from out there, you do not want shooters tight. You can't have tight shooters. It will just lead to all types of frustration on the offensive end and a lack of success. So, you know, and then we've got athletic guys who can get to the rim. We can finish above the rim. And again, it all plays hand in hand. And I think both of these teams look very good in the first half. But I hope these coaches make some adjustments and we will see some defensive schemes change up a little bit.
Do you think it'll tighten up a little bit or not?
Well, this is the thing. Coaches often get a little bit hesitant about showing what they might do defensively in the preseason. And again, we spoke about the approach. What's your head coach's approach in these preseason games? Maybe we just want to play straight man. Maybe we just want to switch everything. But I can guarantee you they're not going to show you all their schemes this weekend in the Blitz. So the fans have a little bit of work to do in determining who's good and evaluating what teams really look the best at the end of this. Because the best team may come out of this winless. So
Adelaide won the Blitz last year, didn't
exactly.
they? And we saw what happened.
So it's very important to watch all of these games and really get a good indication of how the team is playing, what they're running, who they're playing, and what individual players look good. Because basketball is a game of streaks, and if you get one guy can change the fortunes of your team in just a month or two.
So at halftime, it's Tasmania who lead 54-47 at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. We are here in Australia's favourite playground, and we're going to be here for the next week. And you'll see every game on KO Freebies. A short break from us. Third quarter not too far away, and a very special guest to join us in the second half as well. A reminder also, later on tonight it is Brisbane versus Melbourne. Felix von Hoff and Pete Hooley in commentary for that one. But you're watching the NBL Blitz on KO Freebies.
Our game is made for moments. We stop at nothing, on or off the court, here and abroad. Every fan,
Incredible!
every game,
You've got to be kidding me!
every experience. From game-winning buzzer beaters to posterizing dunks. The immeasurable passion and fierce rivalries. Every legacy, every team, and the strive for greatness. No matter the moment, it all matters to us. Hungry Jacks NBL. Every moment matters.
I came for an exhilarating experience. Bit of an exhilarating experience today, you know. Getting to get on the rides and stuff like that. So it was awesome to get out there and, you know, feel like a kid again, I guess. That's a one and done for me. I'm not gonna lie, that took it all the way out of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice place to be. It's obviously got nice beaches and nice weather. Always a good destination to visit.
Don't miss a moment of NBL action. On the court, away from the court, exclusive access, player interviews, free agency moves, next stars, and much more. The NBL's YouTube channel is your one-stop shop for all things NBL 24. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to find out all the latest news as it happens. Search NBL on YouTube to get watching. Welcome back to the NBL Blitz here on KO Freebies. Halftime at the Gold Coast Exhibition and Convention Centre. The Tasmania JackJumpers lead 54-47 over the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Derek Rucker and Jack Hevron in commentary for the first game. Coming up next, it's Brisbane and Melbourne to do battle here, and Felix von Hoff will be in with Pete Hooley for that game. Derek, what would have been discussed at halftime in the two change rooms from the coaches, Mike Kelly and Scott Roth?
Well, I guarantee you, knowing both of those guys, they would have wanted a greater emphasis on defensive execution. This is too many points, and realistically, and it's not even about the points, it's just about the efficiency and the numbers. Got to get a little bit more physical. Got to find a way to contain your man. There's been a lot of paint touches off the bounce, a lot of kickouts, especially for Tasmania. They've done a great job through Jordan Crawford and Milton Doyle of creating easy opportunities outside the three-point line. But I think Mike Kelly would probably be the more disappointed out of the two, because when your stars aren't out, you've got to find another way to be competitive. And usually that comes through defensive energy.
Yeah.
And he's not seeing that right now. And we know Mike's identity as a person, as a player. He wants some good defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had a stern talking to them about commitment on the defensive end.
Great crowd inside the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. We are here in Australia's favourite playground for the next week at the NBL Blitz. Just about a sellout for opening night, which is fantastic. Brisbane to play Melbourne, as we mentioned a little bit later on. Also in commentary with Pete Hooley and Felix von Hoff during that game, Joe Lawala-Chul, returning to the NBL, is going to miss the first part of the season with a wrist injury. He's going to jump in commentary with the boys, so that should be very interesting.
And great news on that front. It appears from reports that he's a little bit ahead of schedule with his recovery. He is a legitimate MVP candidate. He is a guy that can lead you to a championship. He is one of the best players in the competition, and with his physical attributes and profile, he is a real tough cover in this competition. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him back, and I'm sure Melbourne United, they've banked a lot of their success on the prospects of him being healthy. So it's going to be a great to see him back out on the floor. Hopefully he can get back out on the floor before November.
He is ahead of schedule, we're hearing at this stage, which is great news. And we will hear from a number of people across the next week here at the NBL Blitz that are going to stick their head into the commentary area and have a chat to us across the week. We are delighted to welcome Derek, our first guest as well. We go straight to the top. We want the big names. We want the big personalities to join us here in commentary. Benas Matkavičius is an international scout with the Boston Celtics. He's also the assistant coach with the Lithuanian national team, and he's here for the NBL Blitz. It's so great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blessing, really. I enjoy every time coming back to Australia, but especially watching basketball here is always fun.
We were talking before, there's 40 NBA scouts and head office people here this week. That says a lot about the league and where it's at right now.
Oh, the development has been tremendous. I've been following it for a while. I'm going into my 10th season with the Celtics, so I've been following the NBL for quite a bit. And the steps and leaps it has been taken from year to year. It's been really fun to watch. And you can say, but a crowd that draws, but an NBA crowd that comes here every year, and it's just been more and more attention. It's been great.
Did you notice that Benas just kind of kept his notebook away from us, Derek, not letting us look at his notes?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be picking his brain later on.
Let's go. First, by the way, really great way of pronouncing my last name. Props to you. I've heard so many different pronunciations. I was playing in the U.S. in college, and I heard the crowd section took care of me really well, but also the announcers I heard every possible way.
So give us a little bit of background. Where did you play collegiately in the United States?
So I played high school in Louisiana, and then I played Division II college in Southeast Arkansas, Monticello.
Yep.
So that was a small Division II college, and then I went to play professionally in Germany. I had, unfortunately, too many knee injuries in college, and then I had to stop playing and start coaching, which was a blessing in disguise, because I don't think I would be here right now having had the career and success I had as an assistant coach and scout on various levels.
There's Gary Brown off to the races for the Phoenix. Will Cummings has got 15 points. Can't knock that one down. So what is life like for all of our viewers watching? That they would think that you've got the dream job. You're an assistant coach of a national team and you're a scout internationally. What is life like? Are you spending a lot of time in airports and on airplanes?
Yeah, I got to say I really got lucky. I mean, it broke the right way in a lot of different ways, but it's a blessing and a curse at times, because social life really struggles to catch up with my work life, and that's tough on me sometimes personally, if I can be transparent about it.
Yep.
But it's really the work itself, because I was passionate as a player, and you find yourself wanting to be out there a lot of times. with the coaching job, you're close to it. You know, you're on the floor all the time. As a scout, you're a little bit further away, but you get to see other parts of the game. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to travel to a lot of different countries, different parts of the world, and you know, the network has expanded tremendously over the last 10 years. So I'm really, like I said, it's been a blessing in disguise. It opened up so many different doors, and I've met so many different people from different areas of the game.
And it never hurts when you're with one of the preeminent franchises in the game right now, right? Oh, well, in the game right now, I mean, the traditional power, but also they've really resurrected their strength over the past, well, since Brad Stevens has arrived.
Exactly.
And so give us an idea of how much time would you spend, say, in Boston? How many games would you see per year against being away from Boston and outside the NBA, abroad, or wherever else you may have to go?
So they have me travel to around Europe mostly.
Yep.
You know, it's because that's my stomping grounds, if I may say.
Yep.
But I go to the U.S. 3 times a year, usually in 2-week spurts. So I get to watch a lot of different basketball, from G League to college basketball to our NBA games. And I try to catch our home games while I'm there.
Yep.
And so if the schedule works in my favor, that really works out great. Sometimes you get to see 2 home games. Sometimes you get to see only 1. But then usually it's around the G League Showcase in December that I get to go over there, and then I try to catch the Showcase, the college games before or after, and then usually for Christmas I go back home. And then in March, for March Madness, I come home for the conference tournaments. So we as a staff, we spread out to different tournaments for that week, and then for the second week during my stay is when the NCAA tournament starts. So the first 2 rounds we all watch in the office together. We discuss every player. We talk.
Wow.
We talk about all of them. So because it's in essence I have to compare, right? So I have to see different levels, so I can get a better feel of what it takes to be at that level.
Nice.
So you have to see different bodies, different styles of game, and then coming from Europe to the U.S., sometimes you get a little bit of a culture shock also of the differences in bodies and athleticism and speed. So, and then obviously for draft, that's when I come back over, we have a lot of meetings and the final breakdowns for the draft. Sometimes you stay longer for the summer league, but it really depends on the schedule. Back in Europe, if there's junior tournaments that I have to attend, I have to go back. Yep. So I'm not there for summer league every year, but it's always here in general. We have a lot of people go there everywhere, so we try to spread it out so we cover all the bases, and then we exchange our opinions and our information from that.
Have you been watching this battle between Marcus Lee and Tyler Cook? They've been going at it here. They've been going at it, and it doesn't. I like to see this because this will be something to watch going forward. And now Lee has picked up his 4th foul. I think Cook has maybe had a little bit the better of him, maybe in the head-to-head. But both these guys should be significant impact players for their teams this season. Not necessarily in points, but block shots, finishing at the rim, all that type of stuff, and just their physical presence.
Yeah, it's been quite a physical battle. I've been seeing inside, and it's been overall, like I say, it has been a typical preseason game with a lot of unnecessary mistakes, maybe if I may so, on both ends.
Yep.
So they're still cleaning up their games and trying to find each other, but as you can see,
that's killing them.
They know each other already from all the preparation, the practices they had. This is the first show that they're trying to show out to everybody what they've learned over the last couple of weeks playing together and learning the coaches' systems.
That voice you can hear joining us in commentary, Benas Matkavicius, is a scout with the Boston Celtics, also an assistant coach with the Lithuanian national team, who just achieved some very nice things at the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a grip on things that I've been through so many different. I just talked to my best friend over there, Lee. It's just been so many different changes in the last couple of weeks for me, from different areas, different roles, people that I'm meeting. So I'm trying to get a grip on things now in Australia. But the summer has been surprisingly for all of us really successful. And there's always expectation in Lithuania that you naturally deal with. But because we didn't have half of the roster, not many people expected us to achieve what we achieved this summer. That's why this summer for me has been very special in terms of the group that we had, the fun we had together, but also the commitment on each part. Everybody had their role. Everybody respected each other, and it was everybody was happy for the first. You rarely get everybody being happy on one team. It's always somebody that has to gripe, and this year it was so much fun, and for me personally.
You know, Lithuania, I believe, over the past 20 to 25 years, Lithuanian basketball is the archetype of beautiful offensive basketball. I'm not sure what country creates better offensive schemes. You know, when I was team coaching, I stole a lot of stuff all from Lithuania. I know the coach at Davidson, the ex-coach Bob McKillop, spent a lot of time in Lithuania working and learning. And it's just the ultimate in beautiful European flair basketball with a fundamental basis.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. But we did find that Philippines is number one. Basketball is number one in the Philippines.
Yes.
So you did get to see a lot of fans. The arenas were full, and you see the Filipino fans shouting Lietuva. You know, like that. It's really gives me goosebumps. Really, and this year was honestly. The win against the U.S. was something special that's historical for us as a country, but it was also a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you kind of you lose a lot of emotions after that win, and it's impossible. We're trying to, and the players try to, and you give speeches, you talk to them, but it's almost like you're making a final, and then you're deflated. You don't have enough mental energy to get through the next steps.
Let's talk about the specifics of that, because we've all won big games.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep for 2 hours. I mean, 2 days, really. What did you say to the guys? How do you bring them down? How do you regulate them and help them find balance for what's coming next?
You can say we did address the coaches address. We had a lot of personal meetings. We talked a lot about just staying composed, staying away from your phone, staying away from from just not going into the media, because media is going crazy in Lithuania for a small country. And then you get the messages from your close relatives, from your friends, everything. So we're just trying to. You can't make him do it, but you're trying to address the issues that may arise, just to keep your focus away from the phone, from trying to be alert of what's going on right now and not what happened already. So you're trying to immediately go into the next step, you know, and as much as you want to say and you're trying to express the significance of it, practically it's so hard to achieve, because we're just not robots, and you can't turn it on and off like you want to. Emotions are part of the game. And I can compare to the experiences I had in 2013, 2015, when we made it to the finals in Eurobasket, and it was a emotional just explosion, because you qualified in 15. You qualified by making the finals for the Olympics next year.
Yeah.
And then you see the players being already losing this internal pressure that you as an athlete you put on yourself. You kind of lose it going to the final, because you already feel like you achieved something. And in 2013,
when you beat USA, like that's almost as big as winning a gold medal. Granted, it wasn't the top USA team, but that's a team full of NBA stars.
Right. And it was their first loss too. So it was kind of, you could see that was lingering, because they were vulnerable. You could see that was vulnerable, but nobody really thought it could happen. And then once it happened, so that's one thing that in 2013, when we made the final against France already had the experience of losing in 2011 in the Eurobasket final, and they came to breakfast in a completely different mindset in 2013. I can just remember vividly, but watching us and watching them, because as coach, you observe different things, different dynamics that are going on, and you see us be happy and kind of refreshed, and we made a final and still focused as a professional, but you see a different focus in the French team. You see the dog, and you see a completely different killer mentality that they come ready to play to take what's theirs, what they lost in 2011. That's what happened. So I can compare those little experiences, and that rings a bell this summer as well a little bit.
Let's talk about the next stars as Gary Brown's on the line. 8 next stars are here in the NBL for this season, which is the most that we've ever had. And I don't recall, and we had Josh Giddey as a next star in the NBL. We had LaMelo Ball as a next star in the NBL as two of the biggest names. And obviously Ousmane Dieng last season, but I don't recall such a different set of next stars than what we've got this year. Every one of the 8 has their own unique capabilities.
Right, and I have to be careful of what I say about that part.
Yeah.
So, it's always good to have various talents on the court. It always depends on the team on what their need is and what fits the coach. So everybody translates differently. So it's going to be interesting to see throughout the season who translates into the coach's system the best, and then by that you can judge a little bit of what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. But on the general scheme, yes, it's always good to have a bigger variety of talents and that you can observe, and then you can see how they're adding to the game and adding to the system, because sometimes it's harder for guards to adjust. Sometimes it's really difficult from player to player and from coach to coach. So it really depends on the team handpicking the players that could contribute in one way or the other. They don't have to do a lot of things. Maybe they just have to do one thing great.
Tasmania leads 65-56, third quarter here at the NBL Blitz on KO Freebies. Brisbane and Melbourne to come later on tonight in front of what's just about a sellout here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. Sean McDonald takes the bump from Rossetto, calls for the foul.
And right there, you see good offensive action. Tasmania, people wonder when they look at their talent list, and over the past 2 years, they're like, how is this team winning? How is it getting to a championship series? How does it come back the next year? You saw it right there. That's just good basketball. They continually make you defend and put pressure on you. They're always exploring the options with patience and aggression, and that's where they're really tough. They do this night in, night out. And also, when you go down to Tasmania and play them on their court, tough place to win.
I was at the Blitz, was it 2019 when it was in Hobart, I believe. But you can see, but they go through their progressions a lot. They had back screen, flare screen, nothing happens. They go to the weak side. You can see that they've been taught a certain way for certain reads to happen, and then
probably the best spacing in the league. Also, they hit the key spots. You know what I mean? You said their timing on lifts and drifts is perfect. Flares.
Yeah.
They've got. You see it. You know, it's really. It looks easy, but it requires a lot of discipline and intelligence from the athletes and the coach staying on them.
Yes, attention to detail, step by step, and there's probably a lot of video sessions, a lot of analysis that went into each progression, each read that the players have to understand and anticipate.
Crawford, nice little pass inside for Krislovic.
That guy's going to be a problem, man, this year. I don't see he can get his hips by somebody else's hips whenever he wants. That's not going to happen only because he doesn't want it to happen or he's having a bad day. I really would not want to be out there trying to check Jordan Crawford at the top or in shot clock time pressure situations, because he can do something with it.
He feels like he can dictate what he wants the defense to do.
Coming off a career best year in Turkey last season, where he played, averaged 19 points and best part of 5.5 assists. You're seeing some of the highlights from the third quarter. So in terms of scouting, without being specific on any player, but given your knowledge of basketball and how long you've been around the game, do you feel like you can get a read on a player pretty quickly in terms of their capabilities? When you're looking at a player, what are you looking at?
Well, there's some players that a blind man can probably see that one guy can see this guy can play. You know, he's a hooper.
So Wembanyama doesn't.
There's some guys that just you see it with one eye closed. You know, so but that's the difficulty of this job, that there's the gray area is much bigger than, you know, you can see the elite ones and you can see the ones that are not going to make it, but you can the gray area is really gray and wide open. So some guys are late bloomers because of that, because they were not maybe in the right mold or right time in the right place, and then it takes a little bit longer to mature for them. That's why they go undrafted and they come join the league a couple of years later. Daniel Tice, for example, was an example for us when we brought him over several years ago. He was undrafted, but you go through your development stages in your professional club. You change clubs, you mature as a player, as a person, and then you find your niche. You found something you can do good around superstars, and sometimes that's what it takes. You got to be able to contribute in different ways, not necessarily be a superstar, because the ones that everybody recognizes, they're most likely going to be the superstar that need players around them to make the team better. So at the gray area, that's the difficult part of the job, that you got to continually watch them, see their progression, see what they're improving on. Also, obviously, intel is a big part of it, and then see what the development progress has been over the years, because it's not only 1 year, it's the years leading up to the draft and later on as well. So that's why it's called process.
Yeah.
10-point lead to Tasmania. They've been able to keep that deficit from a Southeast Melbourne point of view to around the 8 to 10 mark for most of this quarter.
Another thing I like about Jordan Crawford is his willingness to play off the ball and relinquish the point guard role, because if that was me, I would be having serious anxiety issues being away from the ball that long. But he does a really good job. He's patient. He allows his teammates to find what they can do.
Were you a volume guy?
Was he a volume guy? Jack, with a capital V.
Don't listen to him. He was still asking his teacher if he could go to the bathroom when I was playing.
Yeah.
I'll ask Lee.
And when I went to the bathroom, you were shooting, and when I got back, you were still shooting.
Oh, man. Wow. I'm just trying to get warmed up down here. I come and get this.
No, I love you. You are sitting next to one of the league's great players, Benas.
I've heard a lot about him. I just during that period, I was in college where we had VHS tapes. we couldn't.
Oh, now you're trying to have a hit.
Hey, I was living through that too.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what's a VHS tape? No, I kid.
Oh, man, it's so crazy.
At some point, we got DVDs. That was the next step. That
made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
It was amazing what DVDs did.
I just remember our assistant coaches in college working through the VHS tapes where they had 2 recorders and they had to, so the video session goes smoothly, they had to record one side, rewind, and then just go put the clips on loop. And now it's so easy with Sports Code, Australian program.
Yeah.
So Huddle. You just, you pick the clips you want. It's just such an automated
I mean, even
process.
at a worst case scenario, you just go find the game on.
Yeah.
And screen record it.
Exactly.
That's the worst case scenario nowadays, which is tremendous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable when I think back of what our assistant coaches, and they were coming to practice 1 hour, 2 hours of sleep, and it was, I felt it.
Final 2 minutes of this third term. Phoenix swing the ball to Ruben Tarangi. He's looked in good touch tonight.
Well, I always tell my players in junior development, shoot it straight and shoot it strong, and that was a perfect example right there. And Tarangi shows that. Jack, I'm feeling like this year he's going to bring something coming off that bench. Oh.
That's one thing overall, if I can generally talk about the NBL, was that the up-tempo game is really that intriguing part. In Europe, you see a lot of times the coaches controlling the possessions and then slowing the game down and making sure that every possession is precisely, attacking, the mismatches attacking, which is fine. It's probably efficient, good basketball, but attractiveness also the up and down game in Australia, and just openness and just quick decision making, quick shooting, not overthinking, which is important as well in basketball. Sometimes we as coaches, we overthink, we overcoach, we overdo a lot of things, and sometimes the simplicity of it is genius.
Well, I mean, you watch some of those EuroLeague games, you see guys getting real.
Tyler Cook blows past Bairstow with the jam.
Jack, you liked him from the jump. We liked him from the jump. And I don't think Phoenix fans and those guys sitting out today for the Phoenix, I think they'll be really enjoying this contribution, because anybody can look good in practice. Anybody can look good in those little practice matches. What do you do when we flick those lights on, when the cameras come out and it's legit? And this is semi-legit today.
The thing that's noticeable about him from courtside here, Derek, is that he's got those competitive eyes. I mean, this is his first game. A week and a half ago, he wasn't even on the Southeast Melbourne roster. He's been called up at short notice to fill the gap of Alan Williams, but he looks like he's up for the contest.
Pride in your performance. You know what that's about. If you've got pride in your performance, I can rely on you. If you've got pride in your game performance, you've got pride in your daily habits, and it looks like he's got all those attributes, even the little things, and not to mention physically. Physically, he looks good.
Yeah. You have to take ownership of what you can do and of your talent, of what you're what you can contribute to the team, and then it's upon you to really show it when the lights are on, like you said.
JackJumpers lead it by 5. Cook for Foxwell up top. Big knockdown from the youngster.
And if you watch that play, he made the pass. He stuck an elbow in somebody's chin just to let you know, don't come in here again. Made the good pass, but then he had pursued the offensive rebound. He was going to tip dunk that ball. Did it come off the front of the rim? I like him. I just think Phoenix have found a really good replacement at short notice.
Shot clock's been switched off. And that will leave about 0.1 of a second.
And Phoenix have come out in this quarter, Jack, and done a much better job. They've reduced Tasmania's three-point percentage down to 50. It was at 62 at the half. And they got themselves back in this game.
Just getting a few extra seconds put back on the clock, so 0.7 for Tasmania off the inbound. McDonald will have to be creative. It's Tasmania who lead at three-quarter time. 71-69 here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. A quarter still remaining now. Ben Ass, before we let you go, you are a scout, you are an assistant coach, you are a basketball savant, you know everything there is to know about the game, and you're a podcaster as well. Tell us more.
The question is, what do I not do?
Could you come around and mow my lawns? Is that all right?
Fine, that's fine. Anytime.
Tell us about the podcast.
So my podcast is about the game behind the game. So I talk not only to basketball personnel, it ranges from coaches to former players who talk about the transition into retirement, changing their identity, the challenges they have to deal with, the coaches that have to deal with challenges in the locker room, the GMs that have to deal with challenges constructing a team, scouting players. So it's more of a critical, it's very nerdy in a sense, but it's very critical, and the core audience that I have is very loyal because they appreciate the content. It's not a huge audience, but it's very something that I also appreciate, and I'm in touch with a lot of listeners because I appreciate them listening to me, sharing it on their social media. So it ranges from now at last one. It's kind of, because of the national team, I had to stop a little bit and focus on other things. The last one was the CEO of EuroLeague. So everybody has their own story to tell, and with lessons that everybody can learn from. And it's also a player's wife I had on that she had to talk about the struggles that she had to deal with when her husband is not around. And so I try to get some lessons out for the listeners to take away from, and then maybe carry on, not make the same mistakes that they did. Jesse Cavicius, for example, former Barcelona coach, now legend as a basketball player. He has so many things to share, from players' perspective to highest level basketball, how to communicate with players. So all those little things that matter that not many people think about, and the average fan may not ever think about unless he listens to this podcast.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Very, very, very creative name, the Benos Podcast.
How did you come up with that?
Any suggestions? I mean, could be. I'm down for anything.
Benos, it's been so great to have you to join us for a little bit. Enjoy the Blitz. It's you and so many people have got such an interest in the league right now, and it's fantastic. So thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, great chatting to you.
Always fun talking basketball. Thanks a lot.
So fourth quarter about to get underway. Interesting third term, that one, D.
Very interesting, and just love the chat. I love the chance that these events bring to mingle and exchange ideas and hear different perspectives. And as we were doing that, Southeast Melbourne found a way to get themselves back in the game. A little bit more commitment on the defensive end, and Tyler Cook continues to show us that he is going to be a problem. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. I got some other thoughts going through my head, but I'm just going to let them sit for a while as this week develops, Jack.
12 points now for Tyler Cook to go with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks.
Yep, and some other contests and so forth, things that can't be statted.
Junior Madut steps out of bounds. So great to have Benos join us in commentary as well. As we mentioned, we've got so many eyeballs internationally and scouts from all over the world here at the Blitz. We'll do our very best to introduce you to some of the characters and some of the people involved in the NBL Blitz and what they're looking for. And Fair to say, Ben Ash didn't want to give us too much in terms of the players that he's looking out for, but that's okay.
Obviously, you know, he's probably got some clear instructions as Moeller looks to line one up from deep, but I'm sure he's got some clear instructions on areas in the Celtics franchise where maybe they want some fresh player personnel. And, yeah, there's some trade secrets, some in-house secrets that you just don't want to share as Deng tries to work on the mismatch. Great help from Moeller, and someone's lost a shoe.
There is a shoe on the ground somewhere. I'm trying to work out who it belongs to. Looks like Majuk Deng.
Have we worked out, because there was a little bit, I remember in the green room last year after Game 5 in the championship series, we were talking about the wet spots and game stoppages.
Yep.
What is the rule behind game stoppages? So I guess that one there warrants a game stoppage.
Yeah, well, it'll always be.
Where's Scott Butler? Can we get a...
Scotty's here. We can talk to him during the week. It's player safety will always come first. So that's I think that's not necessarily a change from the officials, but they will almost stop the game wherever and whenever if player safety is an issue.
I would hate to be running up and down a court without a shoe on. It's so slippery. Get it up.
Junior Madut against the shot clock. Had to shoot. Foxwell dives on that loose ball. There's the commitment that we know and love from Owen Foxwell. And Bairstow scores. And Tassie did a good job of making something out of nothing.
And I think Scott Roth wouldn't be too disappointed with this challenge that Southeast Melbourne have posed in the third quarter. It gives his team a chance to execute and play under a little bit of duress outside of training conditions. And there's a good crowd in here. You start to feel that external pressure from other bodies, other energy in the venue. Good defense there from Majuk Deng.
You can use the hashtag NBL Blitz on Twitter and on social media. You can give us your thoughts right across the week. I think it's interesting to have a little read at halftime about some of the thoughts of Tassie fans on the new away strip that the JackJumpers are wearing this season. Do you like it?
Oh, it's got a little bit of Boomers look about it.
I think it's very cool. It's very different.
I like it. Good pass.
Bairstow from the elbow. If you have just joined us, Marcus Lee fouled out of the game midway through the third term, and Milton Doyle's also fouled out, so two important pieces for Tasmania not out there in the fourth term. It doesn't seem to matter. They're continuing to find ways to score.
Confidence is an amazing thing, Jack. You can just see how much more comfortable he looks just in the space of 90 minutes. His first few touches with the ball, remember we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now he's like, hey, I can make plays out here. And it's just amazing what happens when your mentality gets right.
Brisbane and Melbourne to come later on tonight on KO Freebies. That game starting at around 7:30 local time, so about an hour from now. Pete Hooley and Felix von Hoff in commentary. Alice Kunek will be courtside for that game as well. And Joe Lawala-Chul, their special guest, will join them for a chat as well. Won't be out there tonight for Melbourne United, but he's a massive piece of the puzzle coming back this season.
No doubt. And just a side note, Jack, after our game finishes here, I will be eating everything.
You've spent most of the game eating. You want more? You got a hole in that stomach, or what's going on over there?
I'm hungry, man.
I'm very hungry. I got here early and I thought, I'll get something when I get to the venue, but all I got was a banana.
You play-by-play guys
I've
are
had a
just
banana,
always
that's it.
so well organized, and you're always getting places early. You got all your notes. It's amazing. The level of professionalism is off the charts.
Well, you know what threw me? I'm a Victorian, proudly Victorian. The sun doesn't come up that early in Victoria. I've been awake since 4:15 this morning, Derek.
Yes, yes. And beautiful hotel we're staying at. You can see the sun as soon as it comes over the horizon.
Yeah, it's a beautiful hotel. Anthony Drimmick draws the foul. That basket won't count.
Did you ask for an upgrade, Jack?
I did, and they said, I said, oh, look, if there's any penthouse rooms, that'd be great.
Yep.
And they said, well, we have two. One is under the name of Mr. D. Rucker,
Yeah, well.
and the other is under the name of the guy from The Bachelor. So,
Oh, yeah, that guy, Felix.
so none for me.
Did they give you the invite to our party tonight?
No.
Oh, you're sorry. My fault.
Don't worry, I'll find a way there. A 4-point game. Jack McVeigh checks back in. Majuk Deng will sit down.
And I keep wanting to think like, wow, both teams are really playing their main guys, but the teams are so deep that everybody seems like a guy.
No Mitch Creek, no Matt Kenyon, no Gorjok Gak, and no Alan Williams for Southeast Melbourne. Will Magnay, the only player on their roster not playing for Tasmania.
Good defense from Bairstow.
Tyler Cook, offensive
Oh my
rebound,
goodness.
and the putback.
I'm not going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to wait till later in the week, Jack Heverin.
16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And a couple of block shots for Tyler Cook in his Southeast Melbourne debut. Sean McDonald takes it at the other end and scores for Tasmania. Brings that lead back to 4. Moller out for Tarangi. Not that time. There's
Oh,
Cook
Don.
again. What a pass.
Great vision. Normally your bigs can't process that quickly. That's just not how they're wired. That's a great pass off the quick offensive rebound.
Southeast Melbourne play Melbourne United in the season opener. We said no Joe Luala-Chul for Melbourne in that game. Tyler Cook looks to be a more than adequate replacement for Alan Williams in the meantime for Southeast Melbourne. We roll down to 5 minutes left.
Oh, tricky.
Gary Brown. Little party trick.
And he's been relatively quiet tonight. Hasn't really tried to assert himself. Only played 19 minutes, but he showed a little something right there.
So for the Brisbane Bullets tonight, Derek, no Tyrell Harrison. Also no Aaron Baines playing for the Bullets, which means that that's going to be a lot of minutes for the prodigious young talent that is Rocco Zakarski.
No doubt. And already he has displayed a charisma and an engagement with the fans that we haven't seen for a while here in Brisbane. Obviously, it doesn't hurt. He's only 17 years old. So he's a lot of those fans' age. He's still in high school, Jack. And, you know, it's amazing to see the pictures when they've been playing games up here, and the kids are just flocking to him. And it's great to see. He just needs to continue to work hard. And I said 3 months ago, don't be surprised if he averages 7 points and 7 rebounds per game this season. I think it is well within his abilities. Now, whether he gets that opportunity, that remains to be seen. But I definitely think he has the capabilities to do that. Obviously, the game entertainment people are in preseason mode too. Can't quite get this holster loaded that they're trying to pull off.
What are they doing?
Jack, give him a break. Oh, he's dropped it. It's under your shoe there, buddy. There we go. Just chuck it.
Just throw it. Everyone loves a freebie. Didn't quite work out as planned, did it? It looked a lot better on the document about the entertainment.
Our colleague Adam Gibson thinks he knows what I want to discuss later in the week about.
I think I know too.
Don't give it away and stay off my territory. That's my scoop, Jack.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. We're here for a week. We'll get there. Shout out to Gibbo as well. He's part
Shout
of the
out to
Southeast
Gibbo.
Melbourne coaching staff this season.
And the new little league that he is a part of.
The V-League.
Sponsored by Voltaren.
The old man's league.
Yeah, great. Don't even think about calling me Gibbo. There's no chance I'm playing in that thing. Not a chance. But, hey, all the best to you, my homie. What's he from the line, Jack? Is he proving me wrong?
His clip's improved from the line. It started off a little shaky. 17 points, 10 rebounds. Make that 18 points for Tyler Cook, former Chicago Bull. Scores tied at 81. It's been an ultra-competitive first game here at the NBL Blitz. We trust you're enjoying it on KO Freebies. Bairstow had good position inside. Great find from Jack McVeigh.
Great execution. At least 8, 9, 10 passes in that possession. Make the defense work, especially in an era where, you know, as a society, our attention spans aren't as great. That can transfer over to basketball. Move the ball. Make people focus. You'll get good looks.
How would you rate your attention span?
Horrific.
Oh, really?
Terrible. Terrible, Jack. Thanks for bringing it up.
I probably knew the answer to that question, didn't I? Yeah. They call that rhetorical.
Trigger warning for ADHD.
Correct. Correct.
Tarangi.
Cook with the offensive rebound, left-handed putback. Not that time, though.
He's got an engine. You got to match that motor.
3-point lead to the JackJumpers. Shot clock down to 6, but for McVeigh, the chase down on the block from Cody Statman was nice.
Little Queensland on Queensland crime there.
Tasmania
Good
inbound.
pass. And the crowd's really riding it out, Jack.
Sure
They're feeling the game early in the season.
Well, I'm looking around too. There's a lot of Brisbane Bullets shirts and jerseys, so I think there's going to be some noise for the Bullets up next. Crawford inside for Jack McVeigh.
Beautiful offense.
Scores through the contact.
Just textbook action off the little pin down. Defender trailed the recipient of the screen. The curl off that thing, put pressure on the big. Drop down pass, layup.
Hard to retrieve for Drimmick. The score for Cook, end-to-end stuff, and Drimmick at the other end gets an easy 2. And Southeast Melbourne want to have a chat about things. 3:12 remaining in this game. It's 88-81. Leading scorer in the game for Southeast Melbourne is Tyler Cook. He's got 18. Will Cummings has 17. Ruben Tarangi 14. For the JackJumpers, Jack McVeigh, their leading scorer with 13. Fabian Krislovic and Junior Madut in his first game as a JackJumper has 10. 11, I should say. Anthony Drimmick has 10. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Derek.
Please do so.
I want you to give me one player that you are most looking forward to seeing in NBL 24 from any team.
Wow.
Question without notice.
That is a terrific question.
And we're going to write this down.
Okay.
And we're going to reference it throughout the season.
I'm looking forward to seeing Will McDowell-White. I want to see if he can become a top 5 player, Australian player in the competition. I think there's scope for him to do so and to make a case for being in the Boomer squad in Paris. And I think New Zealand, as a club, need him to lift. We saw what happened in the championship series when he was strong last year. They were strong. When he fizzled, when Sydney got a little bit of a handle on him, Sydney were able to get on top of him. And I think Will at 6'5", with good athleticism, ability to shoot the ball, I would like to see, you know, last year he was a 7.2 out of 10 with moderate variability in performances. Big stroke there from Tarangi. I would like to see an 8.5 out of 10 with limited variability and more consistency in his performances. And I think that's what will make him a first-team All-NBL player. There you go.
I like that.
Thank you.
Good logic.
Thank you.
Made a lot of sense.
I'm trying, Jack. I'm still rusty, but yeah, I'm feeling it, you know. I don't have the luxury of being able to work in the offseason in the AFL, you know, and keep my mouth loose.
I just do what needs to be done to put a roof over our heads. You've seen how expensive interest rates are at the moment, Derek?
Can't say I have.
Jordan Crawford had his shot blocked.
Good kick.
Extra pass, Tarangi to Ben Air. Got a little text in from our friend Brad Rosen, former captain of the Sydney Kings, part of the NBL commentary team.
Okay.
He said he's, without doubt, most looking forward to seeing Jonah Bolden in the NBL.
Oh.
Thoughts?
And I've got another text from Big Joe Terzakian.
Oh, Big Joe. Big
Joe said A.J. Johnson. And, Joe, thanks for contributing. I didn't need the all caps. I can read perfectly well. I know I'm getting up near 60 biggie. But, you know, just regular font is all I ask. A.J. Johnson, fair, though.
Yeah.
Fair. And I'm glad he's getting healthy. Oh, Tarangi.
Every one of the next stars are so unique. I'm looking forward to seeing all of them. But
well,
based on what we've seen from Alex Sarr so far in Perth, goodness gracious.
And, you know, that was the guy who caught my attention when he was initially signed. I looked at him and I was like, whoa, this dude looks legit.
Yep.
And he's shown in the past 7 to 10 days what he's capable of. So he would probably be, you know, my next choice. And you know what? Because I'm not as nice steal.
Oh, steal and the finish from Sean McDonald, and that opens up a nice gap for the Jack Jumpers now, 92-84 with 1:30 remaining.
I also, of course, I always look forward to seeing Bryce Cotton play. The class, the talent, the commitment to excellence, the sense of the occasion, all that type of stuff Bryce brings, and it just that. For me, that doesn't grow old.
No, and I think Perth, we're going to see Perth later in the week. It's fresh in my mind because I was doing all of their sheets for the season today. This team, I think, will suit Bryce. You got an athletic big man at Keanu Pinder in the middle, plus Alex Sarr. Ben Henschel's got a role to play as a really exciting young talent. Like, that Perth team last year wasn't a team that suited Bryce Cotton. This one, I think it's got a lot of the things that he needs.
And especially as Bryce starts to get, not to say that he's old, but as he gets older, to extend his brilliance, you don't want him having to go 9.5 out of 10 on physical exertion every night to keep his team competitive. That's just going to wear him down.
Yeah.
Jack, your question about the one player has turned into a national referendum. My phone is blowing up. Now I have super agent Daniel Moldovan hitting me up saying Luke Travers.
Of course.
In a new situation, I'm excited to see what Luke can do because he's multi-talented, has a lot of mid-creek about him, can rebound, can push. He's worked on his shot like Creaky had to. We've seen signs that he can knock down the shot. Great length, NBA body and physical profile. In a new environment, is it going to kick him up a notch so that he becomes the next guy to go to the league?
Well, people are telling me that who have seen Melbourne United play a lot in the preseason that Luke Travers has spent a lot of time with the ball in his hand, particularly bringing the ball up the floor, and that is something very unique that he can add to his skills as well. Jack Jumpers lead by 8. They can play smartly in the next possession or two and look after this result. Krislovic just about closes it out.
And you just got to know when Drimmick faces up on you, when he squares his hips, he's looking right to left crossover, and we get a shaky call there by, I thought Millsy would be happy to let that one go, but he's on top of his game. But back to Drimmick. Drimmick puts it on the deck, hits you with the right to left crossover, delivers the ball into the corner. Dagger 3, ball game. JackJumpers.
Scott Ross, no doubt very happy with what he's seen from his team tonight. Will Cummings will check out and finish off his game.
Jack, don't ever ask me a question like that again. My phone's blowing up. Now I've got Tracy York.
Oh, yeah.
Lockie Albrecht.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And I'm going to add another one because of Davidson Wildcats, baby. Sam Menenga for the Cairns Taipans. Yeah. Sam has shown something. And you know what? If he can give them a nice little compliment to what we know Sam Wardenberg can do, because Sam Wardenberg was probably one of my favorite players last season. I love the way he attacks the game. He's aggressive, great length, shoots the ball, not afraid to try and dunk on your head. But if Menenga can come in there and give them something else, I'm telling you, Cairns is going to be better than people think.
I agree. They're very young. They're going to have some tough nights, but they're going to have some really good nights as well, I think, the Taipans.
Look, 40 knows what he's doing. He knows what that team's identity is. And, again, going to Cairns is a tough road trip. You go up there, you feel that heat. Do not go to the pool. That might be my rule. No pool. You're not going to the pool.
I'm not sure I want to ask why. There could be a lot of different answers there. I'm not sure if we need any of them, really. In the last 30 seconds of this game, we can just safely get out.
It's been a great game. Good intro back into the NBL for me and you, Jack.
Just eased our way back in.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing a lot of each other this season, you and I, aren't we?
Oh, it's going to be great. And I think the coaches would be much happier with how the second half was played. Phoenix showed fight. They reduced the three-point efficiency of the JackJumpers. And in particular, I think Mike Kelly realizes he's got something with Tyler Cook.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a massive positive for Southeast Melbourne out of tonight. McVeigh for one last bucket. It's knocked out of bounds.
I'm looking at the next crew. It looks like Felix and
Pete Hooley.
They're getting ready, loosening up.
I just saw Felix yawn, so he looks pretty pumped.
Well, he's running his hand through his hair. That's the most important thing, that it looks good.
Wonder what that feels like. Tasmania dribble this game out. They open the NBL Blitz with a very impressive 97-84 win over the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. The JackJumpers, with a new look roster, have got some new tools to add to their tricks for this season. Very, very good first up performance.
Discount them at your own peril. The JackJumpers are going to be a top 4 team. They won't beat themselves, Jack, which is vital in the NBL. They kept their turnovers. They only had 9 turnovers today compared to 17 for the Phoenix. They wind up shooting the ball 46% from the 3. Rebounds, they out-rebound you, and that's how they get you. And I just think it's going to be a very good season, Southeast Melbourne. Well, I thought, the guys that got out there did a pretty good job. We won't get a real indication of what they look like as a complete unit until we can see their superstar, Mitch Creek, out there on that floor. But overall, a very entertaining game to kick off the NBL Blitz here in Australia's playground, Jack. I might find out how much of a playground it is now that my duties are over for the night.
That's a warning shot to the Gold Coast nightlife that Derek Rucker is on the prowl from about 6:50 local time, which is early for him, but he'll get busy. Give us one positive for each team. Start with Tasmania. What's the biggest positive out of tonight?
Tremendous team unity. There's no doubt about that. They know who they are. They enjoy being with each other.
Southeast Melbourne?
I like the fact that they didn't give up, and they were selfless in their pursuit in the second half, and, of course, Tyler Cook. So I gave you a couple there, but I think Tyler Cook is the promising light from this game.
So Tasmania win it 97-84 at the Gold Coast Exhibition and Convention Centre. Here are some of the highlights. Do you think we'll see Tasmania put 97 on the board often this year? Like, it's not really the way that they played in the first 2 years.
That's true, but, you know, surprisingly, they've scored more than you would think they do in those first 2 years because they're so efficient. And I think, you know, if you're going down to Tasmania, you really got to score 80 to 82 points to have a chance to beat them. And down there, and what I've been told from visiting teams, isn't necessarily the friendliest place to play. Some guys complain about the rims and so forth, but that all comes into play when you're trying to win a championship. And if they can get 86, 87 points on the board at home, they're winning most of their home games. And in this competition, and we talked about this with Ben Ash in the third quarter, with a free-flowing competition where, you know, scoring is important and emphasized, 86 points is easily doable.
The Phoenix, no Mitch Creek, no Matt Kenyon from a defensive point of view. He's a big part of their defensive end of the floor. Also, no Gorjok Gak as a bit of a rim protector, and no Alan Williams. So it certainly wasn't a full-strength Southeast Melbourne team out there tonight.
And I really like what Gorjok Gak did last year. And ironically, it was really Sam McKinnon when he took over during one of the 2 or 3 interim coaches that the Bullets had last year. When Sam took over, he unlocked Gak and gave him the opportunity to go out there and play. So it wasn't surprising that, I know the sequencing may not have been right, but to have Gak down here with Sam, I think is going to be very good for Gak. He's athletic, he's long, block shots, get on the rim. Man, you know, when I talk about one team and I start going through their personnel, it makes you question your thoughts about another team that you know to be good also.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, there's going to be so much banter around the league this year because it's so hard to address who really is the dominant team.
So that'll see us out from our first game here at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre in about 35 minutes from now. Join us once again on KO Freebies as Brisbane take on Melbourne. Don't go too far. We'll see you shortly from the NBL Blitz.